To navigate to Kintone Administration from Platform Home, click the gear wheel to the left of the search bar and choose Kintone Administration. So if you don't see this option, then you're not a Kintone admin or you haven't been granted permission to view these settings. So first is the Apps section, so let's start there with App Management. So I like to call this a one-stop shop for all things apps. So here you can toggle through the list of your apps in your domain. You can quickly navigate to the app by clicking on its name, or to the app settings by clicking on the gear wheel. You can also delete apps all the way to the right, and then to create a new app, select Create App at the top. So here in this top box, you can view your current usage similarly to what you can see in the Service Usage section of Users and System Administration. So you will see your limits, and then where you currently fall within those. So for records per app and fields per app, this is showing you the count for the app that has the highest record count or field count. And you can also view record and field count for an app in this table below right here. To upgrade, you can click License Upgrade or contact your regional account executive. So to review a few of these columns down here with app details, so this ID, it's automatically assigned by the system when the app is created. If you open up an app, this ID will show in the URL. So you may need an app ID when doing customizations or integrations. And then we have the app group column. So this shows whether the app belongs to the public or private app group. So a user who has system administration permission can see a list of all apps, regardless of whether the user has permission to access the apps, excluding apps that belong to the private app group of other users. The status column displays the status of the app, so it could be not activated, which indicates the app has been added but not yet activated. So this will mean it won't show up in your apps on your main page. And then to activate the app, you can click into the app settings and then you'd select Activate App. If it says activated, that means the app is activated and ready to use. And then lastly, it could be changed. So this indicates the app has been activated, but the setting changes have not yet been applied to the activated app. So to activate those settings, you would need to go into the app settings and click Update App. So now we'll go back to Kintone Administration and take a look at app templates. So creating a template is useful when users want to create multiple apps with similar settings. The templates created are available for non-administrative users to create apps, and templates can be exported to and imported from a file. Exported files can be imported into Kintone under different domains. So an app template is a model that users can use to create apps. When users use an app template to create an app, the settings defined in the template are preemptively applied to the new app. So users can then customize the settings if necessary and then quickly activate the app. So with this page, you can view the current app templates that you have, descriptions of what's included, the apps included, and any images of what's included within the app template. So you can also view who created it and the date and time that it was created. So if you see one that says App Pack, this means that there is more than one app included in the app template. So when you use that app template, you will be adding in all the apps within the template. So you can also create new templates of your apps, which live on this page, right here with New. You can import a template zip file from another domain, export one of your apps to a template zip file to add to a different domain, or lastly, you can delete your current templates. So now we're going to go into space management. So a space is a workspace where you can add apps and collaborate with team members by viewing common information and discussion threads. So on this page, Kintone administrators will be able to manage and view a list of existing spaces. So the current usage box here at the top, this is going to show you the amount of regular spaces and guest spaces you're allowed, and then how many you currently have. So if you'd like to add more, you can click License Upgrade or reach out to your regional account executive. So here you will see all the spaces and then a little bit of information on them. So to go over a few of these columns, we have the ID, which is automatically assigned when the space is created. The name, and if you click into that, it'll take you to the space. Type, so this can be public, private, or guest. So public's available to everyone. Private is only available to those within the space, and Guest is a space that will allow guest users access. And over here, this first number is going to show you the amount of space admins, and then the second number will show you how many members are in that space. And then if we go over here, we have join or leave. So this gives you the option to join or leave the space. If you're a member already, then you'd have the option to leave. And if you're not a member, you have the option to join as an administrator. And then lastly, you can click this little trash icon at the end to delete the space. Just note, deleting a space deletes all data in the space, including apps that were created in there. So deleted spaces and apps cannot be restored. So just be careful if you're going to delete an app or a space. So now we'll come back out here and look at space templates. So a space template is a model that users can use to create a copy of a space with the same design and settings. So the templates created are available for non-administrative users to create their spaces, and templates can be exported to and imported from a file. Exported files can be imported into Kintone even under different domains. And although non-administrative users can use space templates, the ability to create or delete the templates does require that Kintone Administration permission. So you will need to create space templates from within the space that you'd like to template. And then after you create it from within the space, they will display here so that you can manage them. So when you first open up the space templates page, you can see a list of all your created space templates. You're going to see a unique ID that's automatically assigned to the space template, the name of the template, who created it and when, and then lastly, the apps that are located in that template. So at the end, you will see an arrow pointing down. So this is how you will export the template. And exporting the template is how you are able to share it with another subdomain. And then you can delete the space template by clicking on the trash icon. And if we go all the way back over here to the left, and you click the pencil icon, this allows you to edit the template. So this allows you to change the name of the template and allows you to add in a description. So the description will show when you are adding in the space from the template so that you have an idea of what the space template is to be used for. And then lastly, you can click Import over here on the top left to import a space template that was created from another subdomain. So now we're going to check out action management. So you can use an action in a thread to easily copy content from that thread comment into a new record in an app. So you're going to set a source and destination field mappings to map parts of the comment into a field in a target app. So you will need to add in new actions from a comment in a thread. So from a comment in a thread, if you just hover over the comment, you will see action. And then when you click on that, it will allow you to create a new action. So those actions that were created, this is the page where you would manage those previously created actions. So click the edit icon to edit the action's name, target app, field mappings, and who the action's available to. You can click the trash icon over here to delete the action. And then as a Kintone admin with access to this action management page, you can see all the actions created by other users, even if you aren't listed in the available to part of the action settings. So now let's review guests. So first I just want to note what guests are. So guests belong to a guest space that you have in Kintone. So this guest space allows you to collaborate with external partners, customers, anyone who is not a user of your platform. So guests can view only the information within that guest space that they've been invited to join. And you can purchase guest licenses for $9 per user per month. And for more details on that, please contact your regional account executive, or you can send over a message to support@kintone.com. So now to go into this guest management page. You'll use this page to manage the Kintone guest users. So Kintone administrators, they can change passwords for guests and delete guests. And in this box at the top, you can see the number of guests you currently have in a trial or those who are in use as paid, and then also the amount of guest account licenses you have available to you if you were to purchase multiple ones. And down here, you can view a list of guests who have joined guest spaces, and the guest license usage. So if we had a guest in here currently, which we don't, if we did, you could click an edit icon on the left, and then you'd be able to change the status of the guest. So a guest cannot access Kintone if they're marked as inactive. You can change the guest password, or you can also delete the guest. So you will then see here, you're going to see the company. You'll be able to see the display name for the guest, email, their status, whether they're active or inactive, the last time they logged in, which guest space they belong to, the license they are currently in, and then their guest expiration date. And then lastly, you can click the trash can that would be located over here to delete the guest as well. So now we're going to check out guest authentication. So two-step verification authentication is an authentication method that requires users to enter not only their email address and password, but also a unique verification code for every login. So a verification code is valid only for one-time use and cannot be used for subsequent logins. So this is going to prevent unauthorized logins. So even when a password is leaked to others, they won't be able to get in because they need to have access to that email to get that one-time code. So guests receive the verification code at the email address that's specified for their login. So to enable this feature, you're just going to check this box, use two-step verification for guest authentication, and then you'd click Save. Now we'll head into the permissions section and start with permission management. So you're going to use this page to add and remove permissions for users, groups, and departments. And then just note that an administrator will always have all permissions, as noted right here. So priority shows the order of permissions that are applied to the selected user, department, or group when you add a row to the table. So when you add a row, an arrow icon will display on this left side. So permissions applied in the top row will take precedence over rows under it. And to change the priority, you just simply drag and drop using that arrow icon. So the user, department, or group column, this shows who the permissions will apply to. The default is everyone, and you cannot edit or delete this default everyone group for these settings. Permission inheritance. So this determines whether or not all child or subdepartments are included in the assigned permissions. So you'll check the checkbox to grant the same permissions to the child or subdepartments. And then you can also grant permissions of users to control system administration, to view or edit app groups, to create apps, create spaces, and or create guest spaces by checking the boxes in the appropriate columns. And then over here, as shown before, this is where you can add in a new row, and then just click the X at the end to delete. And then once you're finished, just save those. So now we'll go to app groups. So an app group is a group that enables you to manage the permissions of multiple apps collectively. So every app must belong to an app group, and the following app groups are predefined in Kintone. So we will first have public. So this is an app that's assigned to the public app group, so it's open to all users by default. So you can configure the permissions of app group to restrict specific users from creating or using apps, and you can also restrict user access through individual app settings. And then the other type of app group we have is private. So an app that is assigned to the private app group is open only to the user who created the app. So apps that are used only by the creator are added to this app group. So any user can create an app that is assigned to the private app group as long as the user has permission to create apps. So an app group can allow or disallow users, departments, or groups from creating apps that are assigned to the group and manage, use, and delete apps that are assigned to the group. So users can't perform actions that are not allowed by the app group, regardless of whether the actions are allowed in the app's permission settings. So this means that app group settings do take precedence. So creating or managing app groups does require Kintone Administration permission. And the default app group shows the default group an app is when you create it. So you can select public, private, or any group that you have created from this dropdown to change that default group. So the app group section shows information about each group. So you'll click the edit icon to edit the name that shows in the column. ID, this shows the app group ID automatically assigned by the system. And then over here, if you select permissions, this is how you'll open permissions for the app group page, where you can view and edit the permissions for the specific group. And then we have assigned apps. So if you click assigned apps, you'll view a list of all the apps that are within that group. So to add in a new app group, you'll click New App Group over here on the top left. And then you'd enter the name of the new group and click Save. It will then show up in this list here where you can click permissions to edit those settings. So you can change an app's app group from within the app settings of the individual apps. So now we'll go down to customization and we'll do JavaScript and CSS customization. So here you can change the look and feel of Kintone using customization. You can upload JavaScript and CSS files to affect the platform system-wide. So the uploaded files are applied to all web pages except for system administration, the app management page, personal settings, and graphs embedded in external sites by using the embed tag. So app-specific customization will have to be configured within the individual app settings, whereas here this is for system-wide. So please note that JavaScript and CSS customization is not covered by Kintone support. We do have our developer network where you can go to access help from other developers who are also using Kintone. So if you have a need for customization, you can always open a ticket by emailing support@kintone.com, and someone will be in touch to schedule a scoping call with one of our engineers to discuss your specific project needs. So now we're going to take a look at header color. So you can change the color of the header bar by choosing one of the colors below, right here, or entering a 6-digit hexadecimal color code. And then when you're all set, you'll just click Save. And if you'd like a specific color but you don't know the code, super easy. You can just do a quick Google search to find it and then you'll enter it here. So now we'll go to the last section, Other, and we'll start with feature activation. So for email notifications up here, this is one of the steps that you'll need to take in order to set up the email notifications for your subdomain. So you're first going to need to check the box Activate Email Notifications, and then this email format. So select either HTML or plain text email. So HTML email will be formatted, whereas plain text will be sent unformatted, containing no special formatting or graphics. Default setting for users' personal settings. So pick Never Send Notifications or Send Only Notifications where I am mentioned to set the default choice for users who have not previously changed their personal settings. So within personal settings, each user can decide what notifications they want to receive via email. This is just going to set the default for everyone's login. So once you set up the email notifications, you will need to set up notification settings in each app. And then lastly for this section, we have send REST API notifications by email. So when that box is checked, an email notification will go out when operations using the REST API have been performed in Kintone. And then we have this spaces and people section. So you'll uncheck the boxes to disable the spaces and people features, and by default, they are all activated. So unchecking activate spaces will deactivate regular spaces and guest spaces. So you can't deactivate spaces without deactivating guest spaces since it's a type of space. So you can deactivate guest spaces though without deactivating regular spaces. And then by unchecking Activate People and Private Messages, this means users will no longer be able to message other users inside Kintone or view their Kintone profile. And then lastly, if you decide to deactivate and you want the features back, to reactivate and restore the data for spaces and people, you just recheck the boxes. So deactivating these features will not lose your data. Next, we're going to check out plugins. So a plugin is a software module that you can install into an app to enhance its capabilities. So this is where you will install and view previously imported plugins. So you'll click Import, and you'd browse for the plugin zip file, and then select Import. And while viewing the plugins, you will see the name of the plugin, a description of what it's used for, and then you're going to see the list of apps that are currently using that plugin. So you can delete a plugin by clicking the trash icon to the right. To add a plugin to an app, you will need to visit the app's settings. You can view a list of our available plugins on the add-ons page of our website and also via the developer network. And for our last section here, we have default view for mobile browsers. So here you will decide on settings when you or someone else is accessing your subdomain from a mobile browser. So first you can choose either mobile optimized view or desktop view as the default. So mobile optimized view, so a screen intended for mobile devices, and desktop view, the same screen that is displayed from a desktop. So that's how your users will view it in mobile. And then by checking the box, allow users to switch between mobile optimized view and desktop view, you're allowing your users to toggle between the different views while visiting from a mobile browser. So if this is unchecked, they will only be able to view whichever you choose here as the default. So they'll either have mobile optimized or only desktop. So by default, mobile optimized view is selected and users are allowed to toggle between the mobile view and the desktop view. So that concludes our training for this Kintone Administration.